You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shipyard Cat. I'm your host tonight, Kev, and I am joined by the one and only Adam. We've had a role reversal tonight. Adam, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, man. Had a few ups and downs, but I think generally all good as well. Just getting ready for the nitty and breakdown of the up and coming game this weekend.
I know we're into that part of the season now. Well, I say now, it's about to stop again in 2 weeks' time for another international break, which I'm sure Robin will be buzzing about. We might be joined later on by a quick cameo by Robin. He's still recovering after an operation and a few other bits, so he will be back with us soon, I'm sure. But for the time being, little and not very often is probably the best way. To be honest, that's probably good for his blood pressure because that means he's not spending too much time correcting or shouting at Adam. But no, look, I'm in the hot seat tonight. So yeah, we have a tough opponent coming up, obviously, at the weekend in Nottingham Forest. We are one day better off than them, or a couple of days better off than them in terms of recovery, because obviously we haven't played and they've just had a game in the Europa Cup conference, whichever one it is. I know they were Champions League, and then the whole debacle about getting demoted. And anyway, we'll not go there. I mean, what do you think for this one, Adam? Obviously, look, Forest are predicted to be a very tough opponent, and you've got to think this is probably a team that a lot of people say we've based our model on.
Yeah, exactly. That's been the biggest talking point, hasn't it? As soon as we came up and we splashed all this money, the first thing people were like, "Oh, you're doing a Forest, you're spending money and banking on that, you steal by the skin of your teeth." Don't get me wrong. Yes, that's what Forest did, and if we have to do it, we have to do it. It's the nature of the game. You do what you can to steal up the first season. You need to break that duck of the running teams who keep on going down. Forest, though, did not a pushover team. As you said, yes, they've had an extra game this week because obviously they played in Europe. But regardless, they will still be up for the game and still be wanting to push on to try and actually get effectively all 3 points. But for me, I just hope, similar to Villa, their naivety will be the better of them, and hopefully we can sneak in and get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is also probably in their eyes, their first easy opportunity to go and get points under Ange.
Yeah.
You know, he's yet to win a game. So there probably is going to come a point where the pressure, I mean, it's mad, isn't it, to think about it? For a manager that's joined the team 5 minutes ago to now be talking about he could be under pressure if he doesn't start winning some games. And, you know, all the pundits have done their usual of predicting this to be an easy game for them. But for me, I think you're right. There's probably an element of don't underestimate us. But likewise, we can't go into this game looking at their form thinking, oh, this could be easy, because obviously they got beat by West Ham, who we beat. They got beat by Arsenal. Well, we haven't had to go there yet. Then obviously they lost to Swansea. They drew against Burnley. And then obviously, yeah, literally yesterday they played against Real Betis. And that ended in a draw as well, from being well, I think they ended up 1-1, then 2-1, and then they lost two. Well, it drew 2-2, didn't it? So it was a bit of like a backwards and forwards for that game. But I honestly hope that sapped the energy out of them.
You could generally see, because don't get me wrong, I watched that game because I wanted to see how they fared for the first time back in Europe for however many years it is. So it's nice to see them getting back to a stature they once had. And after that second goal conceded by them, to me it looked like, as you said, a bit of energy was zapped from them, and it did look like they were like, we've been winning that game for solid 20-25 minutes and we've just squandered it. So I just hope, yes, obviously, Ange will try and get them back to normal, shall we say, back to domestic football. Don't get me wrong, Ange is a very good manager. In my opinion, he let himself down, shall we say, at Spurs, but then Spurs did him dirty by getting rid of him after he won a trophy.
Yeah, which
which
is no mean
which is
feat
what
when you
Spurs
think
wanted.
how, well, mate, when you look at Spurs' history in recent years, they don't win things. So
Yeah,
for him to win them a trophy and for them to then still hound him out, for me, is probably a little bit of pressure for the owner, who then has stepped down anyway. I mean, we'll talk about
exactly.
Spurs when we get to their point in the season, but I think
Yeah,
Levy's caused a car crash in Spurs. But look,
yeah,
for Ange, great to have him back in the Football League, in the system, because he is a good manager. You are right. He does. I don't know. He's that kind of character you enjoy. I enjoy watching his press conferences as a non-Forest
yeah.
or Tottenham fan, because of the way he comes across and the humour he's got. It's rare for managers to have a personality, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. But yeah, he knows he's already under pressure. He was
Yeah.
probably under pressure the day he stepped in that dressing room, purely because of the mess that Forest are in with their owner as well. I mean, the poor bloke, he doesn't land an easy job, does he?
Exactly.
But, talking about the football side of things, Forest are a strong side. There's a lot of players in that team. As we've said recently over, the last few games, we're not coming up against low level players. I mean, Morgan Gibbs White. I mean, do we even talk about what happened with him in the transfer window again between Spurs and Forest? You know, Nearly out the door, packs his bag, starts heading towards London, and then all of a sudden, new deal signed.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously they've got Ndoye, they've got Wood. I mean, Chris Wood's probably a player I want to talk about
yeah,
purely because obviously where he played for so long, there's probably going to be a little bit of a wanting to slap us from one player and one player only. They've also got, if I remember
yeah,
rightly, Anderson. He's also a former
yeah,
unwashed, isn't he?
yeah. For me,
So
it's going to be for me, it's going to be a difficult one because you've hit the nail on the head. Chris Wood is an absolute handful for not just say as the saying goes, newly promoted sides. For any side, he's an absolute handful. He knows how to throw himself around, get the ball, head the ball. Even he knows how to use his feet now since he's left that lovely unwashed team, which is better for him. And you then look at the Elliot Anderson situation. They all say, "Oh, we had to get rid of him because of PFA." Fair play. If you did, you're now regretting your decision because he's actually a hell of a player in there. I
yeah,
just hope we're smart enough because yes, I know you're probably going to touch on obviously the update on Diarra later on, but obviously we just need to be wise enough, shall we say, to go right. Anderson's a target man. He'll get that ball and he'll run and play it to Wood. And likewise, our defenders need to be wise to go right. This is a handful of a centre forward. We need to shut him out as well.
yeah. I mean that's the big thing for me. You look at Forest's front line. Let's talk about their attacking line. So you got Wood, who's probably going to be starting. He's their target man. You're then going to probably have Ndoye, Gibbs White, and Bakwa, who have all three been players that all through the summer Sunderland fans said, I would take any of them.
Yeah,
And now we're coming up against players that we wished we'd had. Obviously, Elliot Anderson sits slightly deeper. He's more of the Dan Neil type
yeah.
position, sort of more of a CDM. Um, the bit that they've been struggling with for me is defensively. They are leaky at the back, which is strange when they've got the likes of Sells in goal, who has been rated in the past as one of the best sort of
Mhm.
shot stoppers of that level. He's not a Donnarumma. Do you know what I mean? He's not that level, but mid-established Prem team, Sells is up there as probably one of the best shot stoppers. There are
Mhm.
teams that would probably take him if they were looking for a number one, and would probably say it's an upgrade on a lot of goalkeepers. Um, but was it the other night? Was it Zinchenko scored an own goal?
Mhm.
Milenkovic is a great defender, but is a bit of a Luke O'Nine. He can have a bit of stupidity and a bit of a mistake in him. And yes, that's me saying that Luke would make mistakes.
Are you feeling
Um,
okay?
Mate, but this is the way we are at the moment, isn't it? We need
Yeah,
to look at our strengths and really find the opposition's weaknesses. And the big thing for me for Forest this week is if they start shooting and scoring, they're probably going to want to write their goal difference.
Mhm.
I think they're currently -5 on goal difference. I know
Something
it's
like that.
early in the season, but a 3-0, a 2-0, a 3-1, teams want to start correcting that quick.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing for me. Uh, you've hit the nail on the head with the defensiveness, really, because if we can break that down, to me personally, there can be a lot of goals in it for us because if we just punish them, and as you said about Zinchenko, I think it was the other night when they played Real Betis, he took an absolutely storming ball to the face, and it was just great block, but he just looked like, eh, um, ow. But
Yeah.
it's silly things like that, as you said about Zinchenko, Milovic. There is silliness in there that sometimes it's just a little bit of a lapse of concentration. And as myself, you, and when Robin's been on the pods as well, have said, you can't have those lapse of concentrations in the Premier League. These like bigger teams, or any team, should I say, should by right punish those sloppy defensiveness and score. Let's just hope in this weekend that's on us.
I agree. It's one of those, isn't it, where if we can exploit the mistakes and the errors, we could probably come away with a result. But as as I heard on Talksport this morning, Nottingham Forest have started to play sexy football. I just don't want it to be the way they play when they play against us. I would like it to be error-ridden, mistake football where we can just capitalize on and walk away with 3 points. Um,
We be the
but
reason why Ange gets sacked.
not even that, mate. I think it's too early in the season for us to, hit the panic button. But we definitely need to try and make this a game that we come away with something. Obviously, it's really early in the season. You could talk about the fact they're 15th all day long, but one win and they'll go to sixth. Like it's that close right now, isn't it? Because the teams haven't started to space out. There's no one. Well, I say no one's running away with it. Liverpool are currently 5 points clear at the top, but we're only
Just
4 points off them or something. Do you know what I mean? Or six
yeah.
points off them. It's not crazy. I mean, danger men for them. Obviously, we've said about Wood, we've said about Anderson. I know Robin's a big fan of Murillo, and if he was with us at the minute, he'd probably be waxing lyrical about what Murillo could bring to the game.
Uh-huh.
Again, another talented player. Morgan Gibbs White is another talented player. Like I say, they're a team full of good players. It's just waiting for Ange to get them working together. I mean, that's one big thing I will credit us for is the team are very unified. You look at the way the squad have all gelled together and locked in.
Mhm.
That's the one I would say a massive thing really we've got going for ourselves. You know, even after going down to 10 men against Villa, we didn't give up.
Yeah.
We pushed, we kept going, we kept trying. It was just unfortunate that one moment of stupidity actually meant it ended in a draw. For me, 11v11, that was a different scoreline. I
Yeah.
think we'd have taken points there. But here we go against Forest. We know, obviously, Ronaldo's out.
Yeah.
We know Diarra's out and out until December. That we'll talk about that properly, probably during the international break when we know where the likes of Sirkin are at and a few others. So at the back, realistically, I can see us going down the route of the back line we had against Villa.
Yeah.
So the likes of Ballard coming in permanently, Hume, Alderete, and probably, well, Nordy's not getting dropped. Like
Mhm.
he's already player of the season for me. I mean, we're 5 games in. Um, I mean, would you agree with that back line? Realistically, do we make Alderete go and slot in where Ronaldo's been playing? and then you put Nordy and Ballard in the middle.
See, for me, left for if you look at Mukiele, he's a left back by trade, isn't he? So, my opinion, obviously, people can obviously have their opinions as well to share with us. But for me, I would say Mukiele put in his no his rightful spot of left back, Aldrete and Ballard, Masuaku or Hume,
I wouldn't be
unless you go
dropping.
five,
Yeah, I would.
at the back.
Yeah, true. I just think with the height of Mukiele and Ballard in the middle, it's going to help against a 6 foot
Yeah,
something Chris Wood. Um,
and then put a Mukiele on the left and then a Hume on the right. I see what you mean, yeah.
yeah, it's all about height for me. I think middle of the pitch, realistically, you're looking at Xhaka and Siddiqui
Oh, 100%, yeah.
because what isn't covered by water is covered by Siddiqui. That is going to be forever be the thing now. That man covers every blade of grass in and outside the stadium.
I was going to say, seeing his heat map against Villa, it was carbon copy of West Ham. He was everywhere.
And that's what it is for me. He is everywhere, and long may it continue. I know Regis said in his press conference that actually, yes, he covers everywhere, but we want him being more efficient with his coverage.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no point running to, touch the goalkeeper if the ball's not there. Why are you running all that way? Come back, slow down. But it's one of those, isn't it? With your midfield, obviously, we know Diarra's now been dropped because obviously he's injured until
Yeah.
December. Do you see that then being a natural spot for Chris Rigg to take, or do we start seeing Dan Neil maybe coming into the squad?
Personally, Riggy. I think there's just for me, I feel like Riggy's more natural at in that position. Because if we look when he had his effectively debut for the Premier League against Villa, he didn't look out of place.
He didn't.
Um, and obviously, albeit as we've already discussed, the silly mistake from Ronaldo sadly got taken off. I generally think Rig could have possibly played a full 90 on that game.
I
And I
think
think
when
it would have been wonderful for him just to get it. And he was, I think it was one of the balls me and you talked off pod about it. The vision he got from even in the Premier League, managing to get the ball from one end of the pitch to the other side of the pitch. The, the kid is still a kid, effectively.
no,
So
I
yeah,
I
for me,
agree, and I know that's something we've spoken about off, but I know Robin gave his thoughts when we messaged him the other night, saying Rig would have probably been a full game, for him, but someone has to get when you lose a man, someone gets sacrificed, and unfortunately on this occasion it was Riggy. Um, and I know for this game he's already said, realistically it's going to be Xhaka and Siddiqui in the central defensive midfielder roles, with Rig slightly further forward in that sort of number 10
yeah,
role. So on the wing, Robin's thoughts were Talby and Enzo on the wings, and then
can't
Wilson up
disagree with
front.
that.
Would you agree, or would you sort of change it slightly? I know you like seeing Enzo in the middle, but obviously
Yeah,
we've got Rig there at the moment.
I was going to say, for me personally, you, Rob, and everyone else knows how much I love Enzo in the middle. I think for me, Enzo's best position is the middle. However, he's been excelling on the wing, so I'm not going to knock Reggie's decision to keep him on the wing. The only thing for me is who leads the line, because obviously Isidore's now got three this season in a lovely rich reign of form. I can't knock him, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing Bobby start a game. I want to see what he can bring to the game. Is it too soon to see him against a strong Forest team? I don't know. But it's then when can you start him? Because no game's going to be an easy game for this season.
For me, Wilson doesn't deserve to be dropped,
Yeah, exactly. I agree with
but
that. Yeah,
when you're going against a physical team, you do have to wonder, is it worth putting someone like Bobby up front to try and wear them down? Maybe
yeah,
get Milenkovic on a yellow card. then bring Wilson into the mix. But for me, you've also got to bear in mind we've still got Gertrudia to use.
Yeah.
You've still got Mayenda who can play the wing. We seem to have all forgotten that Mayenda exists at the moment because more
Hmm.
that's not getting on the pitch other than 10 minutes at the end of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, one of those big things to think of is do you say to Wilson, look, yes, you're 3 for 3 at home. Let's use the other lads in the away games. And if we need to, you can come on with 15 minutes to go at the end to be that powerful impact player. Because
Hmm.
obviously, the nice thing with Wilson is he can play wide and in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, me personally, I would like to see Robbie start.
Hmm.
To even if it's give him the first half and a bit, just to try and wear, what's realistically for them going to be Morato and Milenkovic down,
Hmm.
so that when Wilson or Mayenda come on, they've got fresh legs against a tired player.
Hmm.
Um, obviously we've thrown a load of names into the mix there. Adingra is still fully available. You've got Gertruda
Hmm.
and Simon, both currently only warming the bench. I mean, you know, I haven't watched Forest this season.
Hmm.
How are they coping when they're ran at? Because if you've got tricky wingers,
Yeah.
that could be, the ace up your sleeve, as they say. It's one of those moments where you think instead of going over the top like we do with Wilson,
Hmm.
do you go tricky and run at them to try and trip up the likes of Zinchenko? I mean, there's
Yeah.
a reason Arsenal let him go.
Hmm.
He is aging. He's not past it. Please, don't don't
Yeah.
come at me thinking he's past it. But there are reasons top Premier League sides let players go.
Yeah.
So the only I just wouldn't want to put anyone up against Nico Williams because he still baffles me. He's a right back like Hume, but still scores goals and can run up
Yeah.
that pitch and cover every blade of grass. How he's ended up sort of stuck in a Forest team. I'm surprised he wasn't taken somewhere in the summer, but
Mhm. I think there was touts for him to go, but I think at the same time, Forrest stayed hard, like strong with him, trying to say, "Look what we've got compared to the other teams possibly offering you a deal, likes of Europe, stuff like that." I think for me, with as you mentioned, like Savannah Adingra, you've got Triori on the bench as well. You've you've got you look at our bench now. We have some solid quality on that bench to come off and to make an impact. So. I think we will see I think he will start with this top three. What was said more than likely will happen. I think it will be a Wilson start, a Talby, and an Enzo. And I think say 67 minutes, depending on how the game goes, I see possibly him take off Enzo to rest a little bit off and get on, bring on Adingra. I think that could be a shout. Rest Enzo for a little bit because Enzo's been running up and down the pitch as well. Obviously not to the greatest extent of Siddiqui. Then obviously, if needed, to rest Talby for a little bit, why don't you bring on Traore? May
yeah,
as well. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like it's now we've got the quality there. It's now what who goes where?
it's a good thing to have too many players to pick from,
Exactly.
isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, look, the nice thing is through this all, at least we're not having to resort to Harrison Jones.
I don't want to talk about him.
No, look, I can't keep shading the
If
man.
Robin does come on or listens to the pod, I am not saying anything about Mr. Jones because we know my opinion. That's it.
Look, I can't. No, look. At the end of the day, he's obviously doing something right in training because he is getting on the bench. He's not there just to make up the numbers. Um,
You sure?
no, if it was that bad, Abdullah Bar is still somewhere. I'm sure he's in a cupboard, but he's still around.
Hey,
Um,
he's gutted about the Ballon d'Or.
who?
Exactly.
I think you buy them in Card Factory. Um, but no, look. Talking of that, let's just
Yeah.
quickly say a massive congratulations to Sunderland supporter Osman Dembele. Um, we will see you back at the Stadium of Light soon. Obviously, I know you're a bit busy at the moment. winning trophies and winning football matches. Ironically, they didn't win the night of the Ballon d'Or though because they
I
got
know.
beat by Marseille. But Kirill was there. I mean,
Yeah,
who'd have thought Dembele taking Kirill as his +1? I mean, that's just another level, isn't it? So
exactly.
yeah, officially a Sunderland supporter is a Ballon d'Or now winner.
Yeah.
And yeah, we should see him back at the stadium. Like, hey, you never know, lads. Could you imagine dreams come true? We sign him in like a couple of years' time.
It'd
Stranger
be
things have happened.
I would I would say you couldn't write it off though. To be fair, you're spot on. You couldn't write it off because of his connection with Kirill. It the same as the Xhaka deal for me. I feel like some Kirill's had a massive hand in somehow getting Xhaka.
Yeah, and
It's
then you never know. Mbappe might come to the most loyal club in the world next. But look, let's stop dreaming. Fair play to Dembele. Over the last 3, 4, 5 years, he hasn't even been a nomination, and then he just
yeah,
turns up this year, wins it. Thank you very much, and leaves. Um,
exactly.
what else is there really to talk about other than predictions for this weekend? And
Hmm.
it's a late kickoff. What is with the half 5 kickoff? I'm not a fan.
I might be in bed by then.
I mean, look, it's a great thing if you're a traveling fan and you fancy a few hours on the beers because you'll be able to spend all day on the session. I'm
No,
sure
exactly.
Robin would be if he could. Um, but yeah, for me, when you look at a half 5 kickoff, it's only moved for Sky. It's
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
only for the benefit of some TV coverage.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, yeah, tough place to go. I'm gonna say with my prediction, just leave with a point.
Hmm.
1-1 would be an unreal result, but probably too hard to mention. I mean, what's your sort of prediction on this one?
Me, I'm gonna say 2-0. Uh, I just think if we can effectively punish their mistakes at the back, which is possible, we've got the players to do it. We've got the players to be tricky around them and get past them. I think we could sneak a 2-0 in it.
Fair enough. And did Robin message you his score prediction earlier?
He did, yes. Robin mentioned to us that he was thinking it's going to be a possible 3-1 win to us. Um, so let's see, hopefully, if he's right.
I can hope so, mate. I mean, I know he's been sort of sending us a lot of messages in the chat, so it's been hard to keep up with it all. Um,
Exactly.
I loved his thoughts on the Morgan Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
It's not fair. You put my tackle on a reel. Like, man up. Um, yeah, I mean, look, even though Robin's not well, he's still got his sense of humor.
I
He's still griefing
don't
us.
think that'll ever go away.
This is true. But no, look, I mean, I know for Robin, he would have probably been at Forest,
Yeah.
um, because I wouldn't say it's a local game for him, but it's a
It's
couple of hours on the
closer
train,
than
isn't it?
us.
It's half the distance for coming to a home game, isn't it? So yeah, I can't make it to this one. It's my Saturday at work, but thankfully, with it being a late kickoff, I will be watching it.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, have you got anything else ready to throw into the mix with the Forest game?
I don't think so. No, I think we've pretty much all covered it, and you've done it in a better time than I normally do, so I'll just wrap it on.
Mate, like I said in the last pod, and I'm sure Robin's listened to it, and he probably thinks exactly the same. When it's just two people, it is harder to fill out the time because you just have a chat 1-2, 1-2. Whereas when there's me and Robin in there, you've got to try and control us a little bit. Um, but no, look, I think in terms of Forest, key things for me, try and get a point. 3 would be
Yeah.
amazing, and try and leave without injuries. Forest are a
Yeah.
very physical side. No silly cards, no silly red cards. I mean, that for me is a must now. The discipline in the team really needs to up in
Yeah.
terms of stupidity.
Mhm.
You know, I think the referees are a little bit harsher on the newly promoted teams with stupid things because I think they're trying to
Yes.
say you're at this level now, you've got to get better at it. Do you know what? I'm going to take a minute to just rant about something really random, and I would love to have had Robin's thoughts on this one. A couple of days ago, obviously Liverpool played. Ekatike gets a yellow card for slamming the ball down, dissent, naughty boy, there's your yellow card. The lad then scores a winner quite late on, whips his shirt off, holds it up to the crowd with Ekatike up to say, like, this is me, I'm here, and gets his second yellow card. Obviously, it happened to Ahmad a
Yeah.
few, well, was it last year or the year before when he did it?
Hmm.
Um, for me, there should just be a little bit of common sense in the officiating. The lad's young. He's just scored a goal that probably means quite a lot to him. And it's not like he's bearing skin. He's
Yeah.
wearing a red undersuit. Like he's wearing an Under Armour type body skin.
Hmm.
What harm is it? It's not like he's wearing a t-shirt that says something offensive on it, or
Like the Balotelli. Why is it always me?
why is it always me? Absolutely. He's playing a game that means a lot to him. He's scoring a goal in front of his home fans.
Hmm.
Did it need a second yellow, or did it need a think about what you're doing, play on?
Hmm.
I mean, your
That
thoughts,
that's
Adam?
the
You're a
that's the
defender, mate,
thing
so
for
you probably
me.
never got to celebrate a goal, but
Oh, mate, I only got 5 goals in 100 odd games, so yeah, clearly not. No, that's using a head, not a foot. But it's one of them things for me. If it's near the end, you've scored the winner for your club. No matter the opposition, it's a last minute winner. You're going to like what we had when we scored against Coventry in the last few minutes. I know it wasn't a winner, but technically it was on aggregate. But what it was the fact being that he's enjoyed the moment. I know Ballard got his yellow as well in that game, but
Ballard
still,
got his yellow when he did it. Watson got his yellow
yeah.
when he did it.
But for me, it's
That's about the only consistent thing they do card for.
exactly it's stupid, and they should allow the odd moment. Like yes, it's a moment of madness, so to speak. And if you watch the video slowly back, you'll see Frimpong just shaking his head at him, going, "You shouldn't have done that." But at the same time, Frimpong's just like, "Just crack on, like just do what you need to do. You've just scored a winner."
No, absolutely. I
You
mean,
see,
look, for the
we could
listeners,
go on this for a while. To be fair.
no, for our listeners, look, if you've got a thought on that one, let us know. Reply
Hmm.
to this pod or drop us a message. But for me, you shouldn't stop a player celebrating a goal. And if it's not offensive,
Exactly.
why has he done something wrong? I mean, Jean-Philippe Mateta the other week got a yellow card for doing his famous corner flag kick celebration. The next
Mhm.
match scores, does the same celebration, doesn't get a card. Like some of the lack of consistency. But look, there we go. You didn't want a rant. I had a little bit of a one. Um, thank you for joining me, mate. I mean, like you say, Robin, we're still thinking of you, mate. Hopefully you'll be back here to abuse Adam very soon. And you're able to.
I'll give him about another half a day, and then he'll be having a go at me.
Yeah,
That's just by listening to the
he'll be
pod.
on the forest. He'll be on the forest review, telling you a few home truths.
Exactly. Wouldn't put it past him. But no, mate, it means a lot. Nice to have you in the hot seat again. But that's what we do. We just like to change it up every now and again, just to so everyone can have their fair share of hosting.
I was going to say it gives the listeners something different to listen to, and
Exactly.
pronunciation of names might be a bit different for them as well. The
Exactly.
Balloon Dior. I mean,
I
fair
wish I
play.
said balloon, but I didn't. I said ballon.
The German word for balloon. But
Exactly.
no, thank you for joining me, mate. Look, to our listeners, thank you for listening in and for giving us some feedback. It is nice to hear what you think, and keep following, subscribing, and liking everything we do. Um, it's hard when there's no kind of content from the club to kind of give you anything other than it is as it is, but we do keep trying. And as ever, thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one.